Okay, I am Miss Heald. I am the College and Career Advisor at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. We also have Ms. Lyons, who is the College and Career Coordinator at Magruder High School, and Ms. Evans, who is at Walter Johnson High School. So thank you, students, for being here and taking time out of your busy summer. I'm sure you've got a lot going on. So I am going to stop talking and turn this over to Miss Guiton. Did I say that correctly?
It's Gayton.
Gayton. Okay, I tried. Anyway,
No worries. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Pleasure to meet you all. My name is Zaria Gayton, and I'm a Senior Assistant Director of Admissions at Northeastern University. I'm happy to conduct this workshop with you all, as Northeastern in particular is certainly a place that is great for students who want a number of options when it comes to, first, academics, but then applying those academics to the real world. So we have a lot of experiential learning opportunities available to students. And I'll also speak, in a broader sense as well, but, at least with Northeastern, like I said, since we have a lot of options available, you'll find that I will certainly have NU be the groundwork, but then just, keep that open mind. And I'll put plugs in there as well, for other, in general as well. So I want to note that I know students are obviously going to be looking at a number of different institutions, but this is, I'll certainly speak in a general sense, but the foundation will be with Northeastern in particular. Let me see. All right. So first, I do want to highlight what is experiential learning, and I'll read this word for word, so that way you can get a better sense of kind of what we're diving into. So first, experiential learning integrates the classroom and the real world. At NU, our programs engage students with the world through professional work, research, and service on 7 continents. They learn how to transform ideas into impact and become global citizens with successful careers. So that experiential learning is not one size fits all. We know that now experiential learning can extend beyond your local community, beyond the United States, and you can really make that impact in whatever industry you are interested in. Again, experiential learning first is not one size fits all for the person, and not one size fits all for your major that you are interested in. And this is all a journey when you're going through your college years and you're experiencing ebbs and flows and successes and challenges, and you're figuring out who you truly are academically and professionally. Experiential learning, I feel, is when you truly go through and really discover what you want to do, and then even most importantly, what it is that you don't want to do. And that is certainly okay. So for the areas of experiential learning, we want to know, what are they? At least at Northeastern, I think we also encompass it amongst a lot of other schools too. There's co-op opportunities, there's internships. I put co-op/internships because they're similar, but there are major differences. There's global experiences, AKA study abroad, and research opportunities, as well as service too. So if you're someone who wants to really give back to your local community, and yet it's also an opportunity for you to build your skills and to also be able to help communities later on in your career and know the best practices. These are all ways that you can apply everything that you are learning in that classroom to the industry that you're looking to serve. So first, I'll start with co-ops. Co-ops, at least for Northeastern, is our foundation. It is certainly our bread and butter. Been around for a very long time. And if you are a student who is interested in co-op, you may not hear about co-op as often as you hear about internships, because co-ops are programs that are really integrated within the university's programming, and co-op is usually during the school year. So with a co-op, it's about 6 months and you are doing full-time work. So when I say it's during the school year, that means you are taking time off from your schooling. So for example, you're wanting to do co-op during your second year, which is usually the time that co-ops are allowed to start for students, because most schools want your foundation year, your first year, to really set the tone, and you want to get acclimated. So you'll start a co-op during your second year. And say for your second year, it's during your spring semester. So usually spring semester starts in January for most schools. So you have your first semester of your second year, traditional, going to class, and then you're not going to class during your second semester of your second year. And you're also not going to be paying any tuition because you're not taking any classes. So you're pausing the academics for a minute, and then you are working at a company, organization, whatever it may be, for that full time, that maybe what you hear on a regular basis, not that 9 to 5 or whatever your hours are, mostly that 8-hour day that you would be doing, after you graduate. So you're experiencing all of that during your career, your college career. So that's where co-ops are a bit different than an internship, because an internship takes place usually in the summertime, typically. And then it's for a shorter period of time too. So obviously if it's in the summertime, that's obviously when you have your summer break for college. And that's of course from about end of May to about mid-August. So it's only for a shorter period of time. So that's where you find the difference between a co-op and an internship. So maybe because you're not at the internship for the same amount of time that you would be for a co-op, you may not get the same amount of experience with an internship. So just know that it's going to be based on who you are as a student, as a person, what you find yourself to be interested in. There's no one is better than the other, but there are going to be clear differences, and it's all going to matter based on what you see as necessary for your career development, et cetera, and also what's available at your particular school. But overall, with co-op in particular, you will be gaining that full experience, and there's a lot of opportunities available across the globe typically. So most schools will have partnerships with other companies, and usually they're around the world. But at least at NU, we have more than 3,000 partnerships worldwide. So a co-op is not just for Boston, it's not just for Maryland. It certainly can be in different countries as well. Excuse me. The second to last bullet I want to highlight, because when you're searching for a co-op, it can be a little intimidating, or it can, like, especially if you don't know what that experience looks like. And the experience does mimic the job search process that you would do in your older years. And know that you'll have that preparation and that support before you even go and do your co-op. So there's a required co-op prep class that students are supposed to take if you are deciding to embark on the co-op journey. And that required course, it doesn't take much effort or energy. Please know, usually it's about, I'm getting into the details, but I say it's about like 1 credit, which is a lot less than the typical credits of a class. So I say this because it does not, create a barrier amongst all of your other courses that you're taking, and it doesn't require a lot of that energy. It's really that time for you to work with the co-op advisor, figure out what your interests are, and understand and learn the co-op process, find out where you search online. It's all the basics. So just know that doesn't take the place of a lot of your other courses. And that is where, you get introduced to your advisor, who usually specializes in your major. And they will help you figure out what even job titles to look for, how to interpret job descriptions, and to see or to teach you how to think about your skills and how they can correlate with what employers are asking for. And if you're thinking that you need tons of experience to do a co-op or even an internship, please note that what the employers are looking for is someone who is involved in you're someone who was involved in your school. Sometimes students even highlight some stuff that they did in high school if it made a true impact and really relates, and you can really talk about that in your interview. So just know that you don't have to have actual job experience to gain job experience. The employers know that this is what it's for. So it's not counterproductive. So keep that in mind. I know some students, think it's intimidating because like, oh my God, it's really a big opportunity, and I think I have to know all this stuff. Please note, they're not looking for anyone with loads of experience. They are the ones that are there to give you that experience. So moving forward, these are some examples. Now, I only highlighted 3 colleges. Now, Northeastern has 7 foundation colleges and 1 for Explore students who are undeclared. But I wanted to highlight these because it's a little bit of a mixture of popular colleges and then some like the College of Arts, Media and Design, where we have a lot of students, but I feel like when I'm talking to students, we're all, always interested in engineering, always interested in the medical field. But then, yeah, I get a good amount of students who are interested in the arts and really want to know what's out there for me in the arts, in that industry, for me to gain experience and to have a fruitful career after I graduate. So I highlighted 3. And, I know you all are super savvy with the internet, so you can certainly do lots of research and go down a rabbit hole on our website and really see what internship and co-op opportunities are out there. But these are some examples. I wanted to give you all some job titles. So in College of Arts and Media Design, you have opportunities in casting, theater marketing, stage management, digital media assistant, even some within journalism and architecture as well. You can work at firms. And the work that you're doing, like I said before, is fruitful work. Okay, you won't find yourself grabbing coffee, or if anyone has seen The Devil Wears Prada, where she's running around New York City grabbing coffee, walking dogs, whatever it is, that is not what you're doing. You are with the team. You are working on projects. Sometimes if you do a co-op again, maybe even at the same employer, maybe now you're leading some different projects. Obviously, they will help you, give you that experience, but we really want to give you that push as well. So just keep that in mind. And then College of Engineering, you'll find engineering, there's different specialties. So you can do everything from mechanical, chemical, medical engineering. There's a lot of areas within engineering. So you'll find students working in pharmaceuticals, doing a lot of technical work, even some marketing as well. Students who are working in locomotives and a whole bunch of stuff. Sometimes students even combining a lot of their interests together too. Engineering can be combined with a lot. I see a lot of students who combine engineering with communication studies. There's so much out there. There's research as well. So keep all of that in mind. I know a lot of students want to hear a lot about what those positions are. And when I even want to talk about where students are working, the companies, the list certainly goes on. We can honestly talk about the top 5, accounting firms, or the top 5 engineering companies, et cetera, pharmaceutical companies. We could name them all. Students have worked there. And then the College of Health Sciences. When you think about students who want to go into the medical field or the health field, what are they doing? Again, I can name a number of the top hospitals in Boston, but students are like, okay, so what are we doing anyway? Like, what are the jobs that are out there? And this list, I think, really kind of helps kind of put it all together. Audiology assistant, pediatric patient operations, et cetera. There's a lot out there. And even in the past, during the pandemic, when I talk about the seriousness of your work, we had one of our students who had the opportunity to decline her co-op because of the pandemic or continue with it. They gave her the choice. And she decided to take on this risky challenge, but certainly something that's a reality. As we certainly hope pandemics don't come out in the future, but we want to think about the reality of our future. And she knew that some of these situations may come up, and this is an opportunity for her to really get that real world experience. So she decided to accept the position for COVID, and she was working in physical therapy. So she was assisting COVID patients. As a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, working for the first time in her field in a global scary pandemic. But this is an opportunity that came upon her and that she decided to take on. And also she wanted to help others, obviously, right? So when you think about the seriousness of your work, I think that gives a great example of what you could be doing. All right, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We've talked about co-op and internships. So I think the point overall with those is, and I think this is the point across my entire presentation, is that it's not one size fits all. There's a little something for everybody. And you're also going to have a lot of support with figuring these things out. Okay. Especially when you get to college, they are going to actually come to you. I know they say don't hold your hand, which is especially true, but it can be a little, I know I was like, I'm not touching the career center whatsoever. I remember when I was in college, I was like, this is scary. But know that these folks are here, faculty and staff are here for you all and for your development. So keep that in mind. But I'm going to switch it up to global experiences. And this is truly not one size fits all. As we know that we hope that all students are looking to become better global citizens, and you can experience the world in different ways, as well as during different years, and sometimes even multiple times during your college career as well. At least at Northeastern, we are a school that has first year programs. So you can study abroad as early as your first year. And I know since a number of you are typically interested in Northeastern, this is also a great opportunity to kind of educate you all on our first year programs. As when you apply to Northeastern during your, obviously in your senior year, we will ask you about your preferences in these 3 programs listed on this slide. So these are actually a part of our application process. Happy to answer, questions about how that all kind of trickles into admissions and all that stuff at another time. But I just want to describe these programs quickly. The NUN program, I have it noted as 1 semester. The NUN program takes place during the fall semester of your first year at Northeastern. And you can choose a number of different locations that are usually in Europe. We haven't released any other locations on any other continent, but at least for Europe, students have had the opportunity to choose from Portugal, Paris, Greece, Spain, Italy, Germany, there's so many cool and beautiful locations that students can choose from to study in during this time. And it is an interdisciplinary program. So all of our majors are represented amongst the NUN program. And you complete all of your necessary graduation requirements, maybe a couple of major requirements. You go on different outings. This is a great time for you all to connect with each other in a very unique way, because this is certainly something that's not seen at many other colleges, and it's very unique to Northeastern. And students find that they really connect with others in a way that's like, because once they get back to Boston, because once you complete the NUN program, you matriculate to the Boston campus that next spring, you all are joining the Boston community with this cohort of people that you've had some really cool, unique experiences with. That's not the traditional, typical fall experience. So that's how the NUN program works. Complete all your necessary requirements in the fall semester, and then you matriculate to the Boston campus specifically that spring. And then you're obviously in Boston from that point on. And then Global Scholars is a little bit different. It's for a full year. That's how long you are away. However, Global Scholars has a little bit of you split up the semesters. So in particular, for Global Scholars, you'll spend 1 semester on our Oakland campus in California, and then you'll spend the other semester on our London campus. Okay. And then after you complete those 2 semesters, you will matriculate to the Boston campus that next fall. Okay. A little bit still the same though, but the whole purpose with Global Scholars is to introduce you to our global network. So Northeastern is known to have a number of campuses all over the place, but those have only housed graduate students. But we've opened up the opportunity for our undergraduate students, and we want you all to have the opportunity to really connect with professors in those other campuses, as well as with Boston, really expanding your network, because these folks can really become some solid mentors for you. And we want you to take advantage of the locations that you are in. You'll also go on outings during the Global Scholars program. There's research, there's not research, there's project opportunities. We want you to get to know the local area and the businesses in these areas. That's the whole point of these programs. And then London Scholars is a full year again, but solely just in London for both semesters. Okay. So London Scholars is for the full year. And then you matriculate to the Boston campus that next fall. Now we have these variations because we know we get a number of applications. So that means there's a lot of students with a lot of different interests. So we want to be able to fulfill all of your interests, and know that if you're a student who wants to spend your time in London for the full year, that London Scholars is an opportunity for you. But if you want to mix it up a little bit, do 1 semester here, 1 semester there, Global Scholars is great. If you're someone who may prefer, being abroad, but maybe just for a small amount of time, NUN's great for you. So that's the mindset that I'm hoping that you all have when you look into these different programs and think about who you are as a student, as a person, what you're looking forward to, and know that the amount of time can make a difference, where you're going can make a difference, and what you'll get out of the program can also make a difference too. But then we'll move forward to the second year and beyond. So if you know, did a first year program or you didn't do a first year program and you're in your second year and you're like, I want to study abroad, but I'm not sure what is a good fit for me. Again, thinking about how long you'll be away, what you can get out of the program, etc. These are all different opportunities. Dialogue of Civilizations, for example, is to explain quickly, is a shorter experience that is that takes place specifically during the summertime, usually for about 4 to 6 weeks. You go with a group of students and a professor who leads the trip, and they also the professor designs the trip around their curriculum. You don't have to be a particular major to do a specific dialogue experience, and there's about 70 locations available for a Dialogue of Civilizations. For example, we have students who have conducted research and has done business proposals and plans and strategy in South Africa, all the way to learning about more of the environment, earthquakes, tsunamis in Japan. Students have learned about digital marketing and media in Spain, and some students even got a 3-for-1. I think a couple of students were in Southeast Asia. I forget the locations, but she mentioned that she was their trip included 3 countries. She kind of got a 3-for-1 in one trip. So if you're a student who's super busy in the fall, you're super busy in the spring, but you want to get abroad, you just can't do the traditional study abroad, Dialogue is a great opportunity. And you earn credit for that, so you can gain academic credit for that as well, so you can earn your credit in a more unique way. And then I'll highlight traditional study abroad that you hear about probably practically everywhere, where maybe you are a, let's say, business major, and you're looking forward to studying abroad in Singapore or Malaysia, whatever it may be, or you want to study abroad in London. Honestly, we have students that hit us all the continents. The traditional study abroad is the opportunity for you to go away to a country of your choice that usually matches with your program, major or minor, depending on what is required of you. And we have an entire global experiences office. Other schools will also have like a study abroad office filled with advisors that can assist you with figuring out what your goals are, academically, professionally, personal, and understand your academic trajectory, what's required, what do you have left to take in classes, etc. Do you want to just fulfill your minor during this time? Whatever it may be. All these questions get answered when you meet with them. And then where do you want to go? What do you want to do? That all kind of comes into play. So, and you can even search online too. Some students will do their own searching. They have a great website. You can see what's available for your program. Again, you can do stuff on your own with an advisor or both. You have the resources available for you to figure things out. And then quickly highlighting global co-op. As I mentioned with co-op, we have partnerships with companies across the world. But if you feel like you're someone who wants to just see what it feels like to live and work abroad, maybe you don't want to take any classes, then global co-op is a great opportunity for you to just live the life. Honestly, live the life, right? Work for a company, assist them, meet the needs of the industry, really get to know a company on a more global scale. And be able to experience another country, immerse yourself in the culture, work full time, but maybe not have to write a paper or take an exam, all that other stuff. You don't have to do all that. And that's what it's great for a student who wants to do a global co-op. So that's why I said right there at the bottom, it comes in all shapes and sizes. Again, you got to feel that there's so many different opportunities available for students depending on who you are. All right, moving on to research quickly. I think it's important to note that even if you are not a STEM major, research can be for everyone. So when you're looking at schools and you're trying to figure out maybe research is something that I may want to do, or maybe research is something I don't want to do, or I have absolutely no idea if research is something that I truly am interested in doing academically. Just know that research does not have to be your end game for you to conduct while you are in college, okay? Remember that. Please, please, please remember that. I get a lot of wide eyes when I give like an info session because it just sometimes never crosses your mind if you aren't maybe a bio major or health sciences, whatever it may be. But just know that this is something else that also comes in all shapes and sizes. Um, and I think it's important to, the questions that you ask colleges is, are research opportunities truly available for undergraduate students? Because sometimes there are places that have a lot of graduate students that I would say, yeah, take those opportunities. Maybe your part in the research may be minimal. And I think that's something that is a great question to ask when you're going on tours, et cetera. So at least for Northeastern, we are a place though that grad students have their own research. They do their own thing, have their own department, et cetera. We have a lot of great undergraduate opportunities that you can gain as early as your first year. But when I said research is not just for STEM, I really want to highlight that. Of course, there's lots of STEM opportunities. But keep in mind, if you're a student who's interested in other areas of study, you can still conduct research and it can still be extremely important to your professional growth. You may not know that now, and you don't have to know that now. These are all questions that a lot of students can ask once they get to school, or they even just figure out when they get to school. But I think it's important to at least put it on your radar. And I put these examples here. Students have studied, have conducted research related to accounting, philosophy, anthropology, even sociology. I only named a few outside of STEM, but I think it's important to note that it's available. And the second bullet really highlights, yeah, you guys sometimes just fall into it. Again, had absolutely no idea you're going to do research. No, you're not going to do any research or be a researcher, when you graduate, but it ends up really adding to your academic experience. And there's many ways that you can do research too. You can do it in the traditional sense with like a professor. Sometimes students ask their professors. Sometimes the professor even asks you to be a part of their research or to conduct research with them or be on their team. If you're a student who qualifies for work study, which is usually through like your financial aid application, and work study is money that you are able to earn through a job on campus that's from the federal government. I always recommend that you utilize work study. It's like you use it or lose it. And that's money that goes right in your pocket. It doesn't go towards tuition or anything like that. You can certainly pay tuition if you want to with work study, but that's certainly your money for you to have for your own essentials. But if you want to do work study that's also fruitful for your academic gains, we have a lot of research opportunities that we post on our website for students to gain that experience and then to also earn money. And then if you're someone who wants to propose your own research, you can totally do that as well. Proposing your own research is something that I think a lot of students don't think about. And if there's a problem you want to solve, you can certainly propose that to our research department. And again, this could be across other colleges as well. So hopefully for what is available at Northeastern, you can ask about other college visits that you're going to as well. So just keep all that in mind. I want to still make sure that you're hopefully gaining this info in a general sense. So proposing your own research is a great way to go too. And the research department can assist with finding funding for your research too. And you can do the research by yourself, or you can work with other colleagues. So you can have your own team, you can lead a team, and you can also have a professor who hopefully is interested in being a mentor for you, which they usually are. Professors can also be that great experienced mentor and guiding you in, with best practices as well. All right, going on to our last area, which is service learning. I want to highlight service learning is something that, again, some students may not even think about because when you hear about service learning, you think, oh, it's just like community service where, yeah, you're helping a maybe organization or, the local community on in whatever it is that they need. And some students don't think that it could be a part of your academic schedule, and where you're actually going to class, learning the necessary best practices to assisting, a nonprofit, local org, and then actually working with that organization, the next day on site in person with them. We have a number of service learning opportunities and courses available that are available across all of our disciplines. So with that being said, you don't have to be, again, the major to do a specific service learning course. But for the example that always does pop into my head is related to the major. So I think one student was a computer science major. And the service learning course he was taking was for web development. And he was in class Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Again, learning best practices, and the class, the part of the requirement is to pair the student with a local organization. And this local organization was in Boston in particular. And the student was at that organization on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and working with them, literally applying what he's learning into helping them and assisting them build their website, help them with a marketing plan, really to help really get the news out there, and really building that strategy for them. So that is hopefully a nice quick example of assisting a local organization through different projects and through your specific course. And again, if you're someone who wants to give back, this is a great option for you. And if you're someone who still wants to give back, but you may not want it to be a part of your academics, we can still give back through a number of your colleges, clubs and orgs, through a lot of philanthropy that even just the university has too. So just know that it doesn't stop with service learning. It certainly goes beyond that, outside the classroom as well. All right, and this kind of wraps things up. I think I highlighted everything, but I think my main points for you all is to remember that this is your journey, okay? Of course, this is an opportunity for you to gain experience. You obviously want to build your resume, for when you are applying to jobs. You want those employers to see that you have gained fruitful experiences, you've made an impact, but you also have to remember this is a time for you to really figure out who you are personally and professionally, okay? Especially during co-op, we know that's, of course, definitely a time where you're gaining real world experience, but you're also figuring out, I know a lot of students talked about thinking about the commute they want to take to work. They're thinking about the types of leadership they like working for, the types of teams, the type of work dynamics they prefer working for. Because you also have to remember, when you're applying to a job and interviewing, they're interviewing you and you are also interviewing them. Do you even want to work there? Okay, remember that. So this is, all of these areas of experiential learning is an opportunity for you to test drive what it is that you are interested in. Sometimes you do a co-op and then you completely hate it. I can be honest, some students did not like it. That's not most, but some do, and that's totally fine. They gained experience, that is for sure, but now they have a better sense of what it is that you truly want to do. They're like, oh, I love working in law, but I don't like insurance law. Let me go over to more. I actually think I like criminal law better. Let me see what it feels like to work for the local, like, attorney general's office or something like that, right? Let me see what it feels like to work on a trial, etc. That is something, those are the questions you're asking yourself. That's what you're thinking about. So keep that in mind as well. So that's why I really highlighted figuring out what you don't like. That's important, because you don't want to be graduating in a field that you gained experience, but there's no passion there, or there's no drive there. Then, and that can certainly translate over into your work. And now you have to think about bills, and you have to think about adulting, you know what I mean? We want to alleviate that pressure, for when that time comes. This is the time, college is that time for you to figure things out, make mistakes, and really, figure out who you truly are. So, and I think the last bullet is also important too. When you experience those challenges or those successes, you have support and resources available to you. Okay. Please remember that. Colleges have lots of resources, lots of faculty, lots of staff there for you all. Have no problem asking, and I'll put this in quotations, a stupid question, or a question that you think everyone already knows, but you don't know, you're scared to ask. That is not the case. Please ask any questions that you do have, and really know that I'm probably sounding a little repetitive, but I think it's important to reinstate that we are here for you, okay? We want you to be successful, and we want to guide you through that journey, okay? We know it's going to go up and down, left and right, but I think it's important to know. So all of these experiences are there for you, and you don't have to do everything. Keep that in mind. You don't have to do research and service learning and co-op internships. You don't have to do everything, but we got to make sure there's a little something available for everybody, okay? Some students, I think on average, will dabble into one or two, okay? They'll dabble into one or two. And that's how they'll kind of get a variation of all of the four that are listed here. But again, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to put all that pressure on yourself. Remember, it's a journey for you to really figure out what it is you want to do. All right.
Excellent. Can I
Perfect.
ask you a few questions?
Yes, please.
Okay, first of all, we had somebody ask, are the co-ops paid? Will they be receiving a salary while they're doing their co-op?
So for the co-ops, about 80% of co-ops are paid. So some are unpaid. It depends on the company and the industry that you're working for. So keep that in mind. And co-ops, employers are usually transparent with that information, whether it's in the interview or on the job description. If they're not paid, sometimes you'll find it's usually like a government job or something like that. That's a typical industry that you'll find that students are unpaid. But if you are paid, average salary is about $25 an hour.
Okay, great. Thank you. And another question about research, because I think we're all, for the most part, pretty confident that we know what it means to do research in science. But what if you're a philosophy major or a business major? What kind of research would you be doing in that field?
So usually if you're doing research in those different fields, like specifically even for accounting, you're learning a lot about, I think it has a lot to do with trends, and you'll find that a lot of students are working on or looking into a company's account history under different leaderships, whether that be teams or single person. And accounting is all about decision making. So you'll find that a lot of students will conduct a lot of that research that was based in the past and then see how that has shaped the company or organization's future. And see how that translates into any decisions that need to be made based on whatever checks, balances, that are coming into play at that time. And even with philosophy, it's pretty interesting because philosophy is such a, I figured such an open door. Philosophy kind of covers all the what ifs and buts of a lot of situations. So I know my answer could be long-winded, but it depends on what it is that the student is talking about. And for philosophy research, you're really covering when I say what ifs, ands, or buts, that's kind of what it is that you're doing at that moment. And you're seeing how that all translates into the conversations that's being had right now. I feel like that's kind of how a lot of philosophy courses are. It's like very confusing and rabbit holes. But when you are thinking about all of that stuff that has happened in the past, it's clearly all connecting to what it is that you're talking about now.
Okay, that's
Lots
great.
of
Thank
writing
you.
though, philosophy too, lots of writing though.
Oh, yes, for sure, but that's good for your future. Okay,
Yes.
so another question about the co-op program in general. So, and my own daughter actually applied to Northeastern, and this was one of her concerns. How do the kids that, do they still have a normal college or a traditional college experience if they're going to be off doing an internship or a co-op? And not an internship, a co-op, so that they're off campus doing a job. They're not on the college campus with all the other kids. What's the feedback from your kids about that?
So at least with Northeastern, students who are interested in NU know that it's still a non-traditional college experience. However, it's not super far off from what you typically would experience if you didn't do co-op. So usually students will, if you're someone who wants the traditional experience mixed in with your co-op, a lot of students will choose a co-op that is located in Boston. So that way, if you are still located in Boston, at least in the physical sense, you're still able to come to your clubs and orgs. You're still able to even still live on campus, actually. Students who do co-ops locally can still live on campus. You do have to pay for the campus housing, though. Keep that as a note. But you still have that opportunity. You're not closed off to the activities and the organizations. And if you are doing a co-op though across the country, a little bit different. Or overseas, obviously if you're applying, you're knowing that comes into play. However, students can still stay very connected to their clubs and orgs. We even have some of our students who are local who come back and give info sessions with us on their lunch break from co-op. I'm like, oh my God, just eat lunch. But some students want to do that. One student she was still on the dance team and competed in nationals during her co-op. She asked her co-op, can I take this time to compete and, work with my dance team? And they allowed her, which was great. So some of those opportunities are still available if you're doing co-op.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Does anybody else, any of our other college advisors or students, do you have any other questions? Boy, I think you did a great job presenting. We don't have
I
we don't have
appreciate it.
further questions. And I just want to remind everybody, because we were having some Zoom issues in the beginning. And so I know a lot of you joined late. This whole event has been recorded and will be added to the summer workshop schedule, or you can get it from your college and career advisor if you missed the beginning. So thank you so much for your amazing presentation. I'm assuming that you'll come and visit some of our schools in the fall. So we look forward to seeing you then. And again, once again, students, oops, I guess I should turn my camera on too. Once again, students, if you have questions, visit your counseling center and ask to meet with your college and career advisor, because we do this every day, all day. So we're happy to help and provide support. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn off the recording now. All right. Thanks, everyone.